Jared, I went to a company dinner this week.
Mhm.
Not the Christmas party. Day before that, we had one remote person who was in town, so 7 of us went out to a steakhouse in Sandy, which I wouldn't recommend, near the Auto Mall. And we went there. We do the safe thing. We cover everyone's Uber.
What was the steakhouse you went to? Tiburon? Carver's.
I'm gonna throw them under the bus, so I wasn't gonna name them.
You gotta go. You gotta go to Tiburon. That's the place to go.
Well, I know that now.
Yeah,
but we go there.
it's a fine steak there.
We all take Ubers. We're gonna cover their Ubers out of there, right? So you can all go and have fun and not have to worry about it. So we get there, and I was late because the traffic was some bullshit, and then I was car sick because my Uber driver was not happy because he made $21 and it took an hour to get to the place. But I get in there, so I'm behind everyone, and this worked out in my favor. But so I show up, I order a drink, we immediately order food because they're waiting for me, and another guy there orders a glass of wine. We don't even have our entree yet, and the server's like, "Just so you know, that's your last one." And he's like, "What? Like what?" He's like, "Yeah, it's 3-drink minimum here, or 3-drink maximum." and he's like, "You joking? Like, or what, is one of my friends here? Did someone put you up to this?" And he's like, "No, you can talk to the manager if you want. But yeah, it's 3-drink maximum." And so he did talk to I knew as soon as he told me, I was like, "Yeah, we're cooked. Like, that's their rule." But apparently they got into a lot of trouble. I don't know exactly what happened, but they're very worried about losing their liquor license. So
they were just serving
some people got
16-year-olds,
or some people got rowdy, right? Or they had to me, some people left and gotten some car accidents, and they've got some legal problems or something. I have no idea. But
okay,
3-drink max, company night. We're going there, and it was just like fucking. Everyone had 2 drinks before the entree came, and so yeah, it was. Never experienced that in my life. It was fine. We ended up walking to Legends and some shitty sports bar, but not for everyone else, because everyone else had dinner with no drinks because they'd already hit their 3-drink maximum before the entree got out.
I have never heard of that in Utah.
Yep. They told him when he was talking to the manager, they were just like, a lot of places in Park City do this already, and he was like, "Name them." I'm in Park City all the time. Which ones? And they're like, "I don't know." It's like, what?
Yeah, that's probably the wrong thing to say.
What are you talking about? Like,
a lot of people in Park City do this.
Like, I don't. Park City is probably not. Maybe. Anyway, what the fuck? I don't know. I don't know where this story is supposed to go, except that I've just never experienced that in my life.
Yeah, like, that's super weird, man. I've never seen that ever in Utah, right? Like, yeah, no. We got a lot of weird laws here, to be sure, but that's next level.
Yep. So I immediately got the menu because I was looking for the highest proof whiskey they could sell me, but they didn't have anything good. They didn't have anything high proof. It was all normal stuff because I was just gonna like, yeah, you want to make me play ball? What you got on you got a stag over here? What do you got?
Yeah.
But they didn't have anything.
Yeah.
Overall, disappointed. That place actually, like, I didn't like my food. It wasn't very.
So this is in Park City?
No. This is Carver's out of the
in Sandy
Auto.
Yeah, that's what I thought you said.
They said other places in Park City. They randomly just said people in Park City are already doing this, and we're like, well, where? Because we were there a month ago with my whole family, and I had like 9 old fashions. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, that's pretty unacceptable. I mean, we already have to deal with like so much bullshit here, as far as liquor laws go. So to cap you at three as well, and this is Utah cocktails. You know what I mean?
That's the problem.
Or you're having 3 beers. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? You know what I mean? So I don't know. And then
it's a nanny state.
Like, how are they?
It's a nanny state that's just the
how you would have to have like Johnny fucking Cochran as a lawyer. How are they culpable for somebody getting in a car and getting a DUI or causing an accident because of what they drank? I mean, people have agency, and you make your own decisions. So like, I think that's just ridiculous, you know?
Maybe they had a fight. Maybe it wasn't a car. Maybe they got people so drunk they were fighting in their restaurant and the police had to come or something. But I mean, we can only speculate to be
Yeah.
like, what would happen? Because it blows your mind because you're just like you're a steakhouse and you're just like, this is normal. Other people are also doing this. It's like bars fucking exist. What are we talking here?
Right.
Like we live in a world where bars exist, and you're
Yeah.
gonna sit here and say 3-drink minimum as you give me a 12-ounce steak. They didn't give me shit. They just gave me like
Yeah.
9 drinks and like what are we doing here?
Yeah, that's really weird. Maybe it's because it's at the auto mall
Maybe
and car salesmen are absolute degenerates.
we made a mistake. Usually it's always Salt Lake, but I'm the only one in Salt Lake. So I was like, fine, I'll come out to you guys. Traffic sucks. You know what's great? If you want to go to Salt Lake on a work night at 5, traffic's not bad going in.
Mm-hmm.
Traffic's bad going out. And so, yeah, I sat in the fucking car for like an hour and 10 minutes. Was sick as shit. I don't get car sick, but this guy had a major anxiety. My Uber driver got off the freeway, did not reroute. He was just flying blind. And I'm just, I have nothing else to do. I'm just like looking at my phone. I'm just like, you're making bad decisions. I don't like where you're heading. This is a lot of red.
So I have a kind of funny story about the auto mall that happened
great.
somewhat recently. So my girlfriend is in the market for a new vehicle. And so, I work in the industry. So we're being pretty selective and trying to find the right thing for her, which she's not loving so much just because I'm just like, no,
ruining her.
no. Yeah, but we're working on it. But so we went to go test drive a car a couple of weeks ago, and we get there and it's fine. Like, it's a super nice car. I like it quite a bit. And the salesman, very nice, and I've dealt with a lot of them. It's kind of part and parcel of the business I'm in. I deal with a lot of them. That's why I say that they're all degenerates, and I stand by that.
Sure.
They're fucking like a lot of really great people, but they do not have very, very, very little filter, right? So just kind of the part of the business, which is kind of funny because it's like maybe very similar to restaurants where forward facing, they're very like prim and proper,
Sure,
very nice, but then as soon as they walk away, they're like the most fucking vulgar, like crazy people. I have plenty of stories we could talk about, but we go and we're looking at this car. We talk to this dude, and I'm asking like some pretty weird questions to him that I'm sure he's not usually used to, but he
inside baseball questions.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Inside baseball questions. And so he's kind of taken aback by that, but to his credit, he provided me with all the information that I asked for. He had to go talk to his GSM to get it, but so we finally get through all that, and he's like, "Let's go take a test drive." And we're like, "All right." So we go and we're driving this vehicle, and he's yucking it up in the back seat, talking to us. And somehow we got on golf. Like, I don't know what was happening, but like somehow we got on the topic of golf, and he was like, "Yeah, I play a lot of golf, and I actually just went and did a tournament that was like an Oktoberfest tournament." And he was like, "It was a shit show because everybody was just drinking so much beer and nobody could like play well, and it was just ridiculous." And as he's talking about that, he's talking about
fun. Which tournament is this?
Yeah, that's what I asked him. I was like, "What tournament is this, dude? I'll play a scramble and just drink a bunch of beer. Fucking, I do that anyway, so might as well do it and get free beer." Yeah. And he was talking about one of his coworkers, and he was just like, "Yeah, we were all pretty lit up, but nobody was as lit up as this guy." And he shows me a picture. Well, he pulls up a picture, I should say, on his phone. And the picture is basically this guy tried to tee off and he hit the ball, but he hit it directly. Like he had to have thinned it. So he hit like the very bottom of the club face. The ball went directly into the ground. But the guy obviously had a pretty good swing speed because it cratered the ground and like went into the dirt, right? So he pulls up his phone and he's in the back. My girlfriend's driving.
Mm.
I'm just sitting there and in the front seat. And he's like, look at this. Like, look at it. And he's just like, got his phone up and he sticks it because he's in the middle. He sticks it into the front and shows us this picture. And my girlfriend looks down at the photo. I look at it and I'm like, oh shit. But my girlfriend looks at it and unbeknownst to any of us, there's a car that we've got a green light, right? This car just pulls out, just fucking yeets it like YOLO, turning left in an intersection. And I look up at like the last possible second. We totally not our fault, but my girlfriend wasn't looking. I was not looking. And I just am like, brakes, like scream brakes.
No.
And she fucking, like, to her credit, slams them. And we like screech and this car scoots off. Like if we wouldn't have braked at all, we would have fucking T-boned this car, right? And the dude like flies forward in the back seat and I'm like, holy shit. Like, oh my God. Like all of us, near accident. We're like, oh my God, in this fucking brand new vehicle. And everyone's
and the dealer was distracting.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, look at this photo. It was a pretty incredible photo.
It's real funny.
But we come out unscathed, obviously, and we pull back into the lot, and he was just like, I'm not gonna lie, guys, that was 100% on me. That was a big mistake that I just made. And I was like, yeah, no shit, man. You fucking, like, I get it. It was like all like he was fine. He was a nice guy, but I was just like, you can't distract the driver in your $70,000 vehicle that you're showing off.
Did you buy the car?
No.
Why? You should have bought the car.
There was a lot
just for the story.
There's a lot of back end stuff that went into it where I was just like, it wasn't the right deal. It didn't make sense.
Yeah, it would have been great because you could be like, yeah, well, we bought it because we almost wrecked it, and the brakes were good, so we were like, hey,
yeah,
this is a good one.
Well, it was hilarious too because when we got there, you like depends on the dealer, but a lot of dealers will like take down your license and then they have a copy of you and then they'll just let you rip around in a vehicle. They did not do that at this one, which is kind of old school. That's not very common anymore where the dealer will actually come with you.
Sure.
Right. And I was just like, this is probably the reason why they don't do this anymore very, very often, because it was close. It was pretty fucking close.
God damn.
Yeah. So yeah, a little story about the Automall.
All right.
I don't know if it's exciting as much as it was just like, I don't know. Every single time I go into a dealership, because I spent so much time in them, I'm just like, this is the worst. Like, no offense to anybody. Like, I know you can make a very good living doing it, but there are very few environments that I could imagine not want. Like coal mine probably would trump it, but like not by much. Like those dealerships, man, it's just so.
They're the worst. And when I was getting my truck, I knew exactly what I wanted. Exact.
Yeah.
And I went in there and I went to different dealers and I would be like, here's what I want. And it's this exactly. It needs this package and it has to be black. And they'd be like, oh man, I got one. Look at this white one. And it's like, motherfucker, did you not hear when I told you that it had to be black? And I'm like, I'm not walking out of here with a white truck. And there's like, yeah, but you should just drive it. And it's like, does the color change while it drives? Like, what? Like exactly this thing. And then I had one guy that was like, hey, I get in a lot of trouble. Like, it's a big deal if I can get you to come in and just sit down for a few minutes, like with my boss. It just helps with like my retaining or whatever. And I was like, you want me to just come in and hang out? Like, we're just gonna like chill because you don't. I mean, we all know you don't have what I want. He's like, yeah, I don't have what you want, but will you come and sit for a while? And I was like, no, I'm not gonna come sit for a while. Like, what? Tell your boss to call me, and he's a psycho. Like,
no, that's like little inside baseball here, but that's the sign of a pretty poor dealership, honestly. Anybody that works in the business for a long period of time, you know, they want to sell cars, right? And
Mm,
they have a lot of levers that they can pull. So the fact that when did you bought it during the pandemic?
2020, yeah,
Okay, so that might be the reason why. But like typically, because that was a very
for sure.
tumultuous time in the automotive industry. But typically, a good dealer is going to be like, you want it in black? Well, let's fucking find you one in black.
I will go on the hunt.
I will
We
go
will,
to an auto auction and I will buy you one. You know
yeah,
what I mean? And that usually is what you want to see. If somebody is not willing to
yeah.
do that, walk out. Don't fucking do business with them, because all of them are sourcing inventory from auto auctions across the
Mm,
country, and pretty easy to find a colorway of a vehicle somewhere in the United States. Might
uh,
cost them a lot of money to get it,
sure,
because it's not going to be generally, if it's very specific build,
yeah.
color, they're going to have to do some searching, but they all know how to do it.
I use the company as leverage all the time to help myself out, which I own, but they don't know I own the company. So whenever I go in there and I'm looking at vehicles, I walk in and I'm just like, yeah, I'm looking for a company vehicle, but I have to get it all approved. So there's a 0% chance that I'm buying a vehicle today. Just so you know, it's impossible because I have to talk to the owner, which is me, but you don't know that. And that works really well. Also, what works really well is I've been pulled over quite a few times. Not maybe in the last year or so, but in the past. And they'd be like, hey, your plate's expired maybe by a couple weeks or something. Or like that thing on your plate, on your license plate, that's way too tinted. And it's like, yeah, it's a company car. Who do I got? He's like, yeah, you got to tell your boss he's got to get this fixed. And it's like, I will tell the boss to get this fixed. Officer, thank you. This company sucks. It's got to work through it. And he's like, see you later. And he doesn't write me a ticket. He's like, this poor soul, this company is just fucking him. So, yeah, I use that often.
Yeah, no, that's effective.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, as long as you don't have like a business card.
Yeah, everybody's like, you're the owner. Oh, no, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, dude, it's so scummy and so, that's the thing, is it's like, I think a lot of people just go to like, and it's geographic as well. You might live in an area where there isn't a lot of options, but if you got an auto mall next to you, like you're spoiled for choice. And
For
if
sure.
if you like, you should not deal with pushy salesmen or salespeople. You should go somewhere else, right? And the other thing is just like tacked on fees. Like we put in fucking this special kind of air in the tires, and that's an extra
it's free on. It's
$500.
like
No, like immediately walk out. They will try all sorts of bullshit, or the most kind of skeezy one is, you'll have like an MSRP price if you're going to buy a new vehicle, and we're in a market and environment where you should not be paying over sticker for anything other than like the most niche specialty vehicle that exists.
Cybertrucks.
No, you should not pay that. That's one of the last things that you should pay. Any Tesla product right now, they are not doing well. Let's say, you right now, if you want to buy a Tesla, is actually a
You
really
should
good
get a
time.
screaming deal.
EVs in
Maybe.
general, but Tesla in particular, you absolutely, if you are interested in purchasing a Tesla, it's a buyer's market. Go and get one. But just know that it will not hold any value. And typically, if you're buying a new one in particular, you're probably going to be in the hole immediately by a sobering number. So keep that in mind. But if you want to buy a Tesla and drive it for 100,000 miles or 50,000 miles when the battery explodes, that might be a viable option. But yeah, no, it's not. It's not
great.
It's not great for EVs right now out there. It's the future for sure, but it's not. The future is not now. We'll say
it's gonna be later.
absolutely. But yeah, like there's just a lot of nasty tricks that these fuckers will try to pull on you, and I just feel like if you have options, like you should find somebody that's not pushy. And again, like I was saying, if it's MSRP, and then there's, you're looking at the window sticker, and you go in to negotiate, and they're like, this is a dealer fee of $2,500, or it might even be more. They're depending on like desirable vehicles right now. That's kind of one of these tactics that a lot of these shady fuckers will use, where it's like they're buying, at a wholesale price, a bulk price from a manufacturer, and then they'll stick you with a fucking giant upcharge, and they call it like a dealer fee, which is like super fucking not well explained, but more or less it's just them trying to make more money on you.
We that guy that I told you about that wanted me to go and just become friends and just chill. He called me a week later because that's what they do.
Yeah.
And I think I had mistakenly, I learned real quick, don't give your fucking phone number out. It was a mistake on my part. But he called me. He was like, hey, I just wanted to talk to you about why we couldn't get you in a vehicle. And it was just like, you fucking know the answer to that question. Like, we went over it. You don't have you don't have the like. What do you mean? Why didn't we? Did you find the vehicle?
Yeah.
And I literally talked to him. I was just like, what's going on here? And he was like, I have to call and ask you. And I was just like, I hate you. I'm never coming back.
Yeah, that was like we're getting real nerdy here, but like that was the dark ages of the wholesale market, because what happened during the pandemic is obviously there were supply chain shortages.
They were desperate.
Microchip shortages in particular, where a lot of these manufacturers were producing vehicles, but they would be like half measures. So it depended on the manufacturer, but let's use Stellantis or Dodge, for instance. There were microchips that they just did not have, but they produced the entire truck. But they didn't have these like key components that made like infotainment, GPS, in more important aspects of like engine functionality to work at the level that it should. Modern cars are all, lots of computers, lots of things that have to kind of work in unison for the car to function correctly and not drive you off of a fucking cliff.
Yeah, sure.
And so they were producing them, and then they were renting out these large places like speedways in the South, where they weren't having races because of COVID. They would just rent out where like all the hillbillies hang out in the middle, like not in like the stands, but like the circle, like in the middle of the racetrack. They were renting out that space because generally at some of these large speedways, that's a large portion of space.
Sure.
They were just renting them out and then just parking these vehicles and then just slowly waiting for these microchips to come in to slot in. So they'd be like, this truck can drive now. But the real problem, and it was compounded by supply chain shortages and things like that, but it was rental car companies, because rental car companies had these massive demands for fleet, because a rental car company, any of the big three, we'll say, who own,
everything.
It's like they own everything, right?
Yeah. Do three own like multiple companies? Like, it's all the same company.
It's all the same company. Yeah, like Enterprise is National, Alamo, and then like a couple of like smaller fish, right?
Sure.
But it's all Enterprise, right? Hertz is the same way. Avis is the same way. But the way their business model works is they are allocated X amount of vehicles, and those big three driving a car for, and it depends, like if it's like a nationally owned or it's a licensee, the mileage and time that they're going to be on one of those vehicles is going to vary pretty drastically.
But they get rid of them at 50 or 75 or something,
even less. For the average rental car company, they're going to get off of them 30,000 miles or so.
So they're that model that you just described is no maintenance. That model is that they want to do no maintenance on their vehicles.
That's one of the biggest things.
Essentially no maintenance, right?
Well, yeah.
They get rid of them all. They've just decided they would rather not do upkeep. they put air in the tires and move on.
Well, it's also cap agreements with the manufacturers. That's the biggest
Sure.
thing. The cap agreements with the manufacturers will stipulate that you have to give us you can sell X amount of them. So
Mhm.
like Jerry rents a car and he fucking shits in the back of it or whatever, and or does meth in it for a month and drives it across the country. That car is not going back to the manufacturer. That will stay in house and will be sold at an auto auction, or if the rental car company has a sales arm to their business, they'll sell that vehicle. But the cap agreement with the manufacturer stipulates we're going to allocate X amount of vehicles to you. You're going to have them in your fleet for X amount of time. You're going to pay a very small amount of money on that agreement that we have.
Yeah.
But the stipulation is you give them all back to us so that we can integrate them into our model and send them to dealerships, do what we're going to do with them, right?
Sure.
So it's mutually beneficial. The problem, COVID happened. That was not the way that it worked. The manufacturers drastically reduced the volume that the rental car companies were allocated, right? So from a rental car company perspective, they did not have the amount of vehicles they needed for their general use, right?
Sure.
Even with that puts in perspective how grim it was, because like it wasn't like a lot of people were going on fucking vacation.
I was gonna say demand should have been way lower.
It was way lower, but because the amount of inventory that they were getting was so drastically declined, what the rental car companies did was they went to auto auctions to fill in the shortfall for their inventory, right? And what they did is there is general, pricing models, wholesale pricing models that anybody in the industry uses to kind of understand what a car will go for wholesale,
Sure.
right, at an auto auction. And generally speaking, in a healthy market, like right now, for instance, buying parties are not going to go over that wholesale number. Rarely will they go over that wholesale number.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen, right? The rental cars companies did not give a fuck about that. So if it was a low mileage, late model vehicle,
they just wanted it.
They needed, and it fit into their portfolio of vehicles that they would typically use for their business. They were paying thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars over that wholesale price.
So it broke the market.
It broke it.
It broke the market that you work in.
Yeah, it completely broke it. It was beautiful because at that time I was buying vehicles from the general public, and then I was selling them. I would buy a car for.
You were on the right side of that.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was not for like those late model, low mileage vehicles. Yeah. I could put it online and make 10 grand on a car. And it's just like 10 grand in profit on a car, and just be like, well, this is sweet. But, there are reverberations that we're still dealing with now, where we're trying to get hold of that wholesale number so it's accurate and it's reliable and expected, that a vehicle is going to sell for that, because it makes everything easier if you can just say, okay, this is what this car is worth. And nobody in their right mind is going to pay over that number, right? So it just caused a lot of fucking issues. So when somebody is like, I can't get you a black truck with these builds, it's probably because those ones that were running through the auction lanes, the rental car companies were like, buy it, fucking buy it. It doesn't matter.
Fucking Salt City Carcast.
There you go.